What if I told you that after years of hatred, after countless deaths, betrayals, and one of the most shocking murders in television history, Maggie and Negan finally stop fighting? Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what happens in the Season 3 premiere of The Walking Dead: Dead City. However, before you think this is a happy ending, think again. Because while one villain falls, another begins building something far more dangerous. And by the end of this episode, Manhattan is on the verge of another war. Season 3 wastes absolutely no time. Instead of opening with walkers or explosions, the episode begins with something much more dangerous: hope. But in the Walking Dead universe, hope rarely lasts very long. The camera sweeps across the broken streets of Manhattan as soldiers plaster wanted posters across abandoned buildings. The faces on those posters? Maggie Rhee, Negan Smith. The two people who have somehow survived everything this world has thrown at them. Only now, they're official enemies of New Babylon. At the very same moment, someone secretly plants explosives on one of Manhattan's remaining methane tanks. It's a small moment, easy to overlook, but it quietly tells us something important. The war isn't over. It's only changing shape. Meanwhile, away from the city, Maggie is doing something heartbreakingly simple. She's burying Ginny. No dramatic speeches, no emotional music, just silence. Sometimes that's more powerful. Ginny's death hangs over the entire premiere like a dark cloud. She wasn't just another casualty. She represented Negan's last chance to protect someone innocent. And when Negan discovers Maggie burying her, his grief instantly turns into anger. For a brief moment, it feels like we're about to watch the exact same argument we've seen for 3 seasons. Blame, regret, accusations. But something feels different. Negan isn't angry because Maggie tried to kill him. He's angry because Jenny is gone, because despite everything he's done, he genuinely cared about her. That alone tells us how much this version of Negan has changed. Then comes one of the episode's biggest surprises. Maggie apologizes, not because she's suddenly forgiven Negan, not because she's forgotten Glenn, but because she knows everyone has lost something. She admits she'd undo everything if she could, but she can't. The past is permanent. Then, she does something absolutely nobody expected. She hands Negan a knife and quietly tells him, "If killing me makes things right, do it." Think about how huge this moment really is. Years ago, Maggie would have done almost anything to kill Negan. Now, she's offering him the chance to end her life instead. It's not surrender, it's exhaustion. She's tired of carrying the same anger every single day. And honestly, Negan looks just as exhausted. For a split second, it actually feels like he might stab her. But before either of them can make a choice, gunshots echo nearby. 2 strangers appear, and suddenly, everything changes. The newcomers immediately point their weapons at Maggie and Negan. No introductions, no friendly conversation, just suspicion. They've heard the rumors. To them, Negan isn't a survivor. He's the Croat's right-hand man, which means they believe he's the key to finding one of the city's remaining methane tanks. And that methane isn't just fuel anymore. It's survival. Without it, a baby will die. Without it, an entire community could disappear. Immediately, the episode shifts away from revenge towards something much bigger, saving lives. Before anyone can explain anything, Hershel suddenly appears. Maggie barely has time to react, because an enormous explosion rips through Manhattan. The shockwave sends ash raining across the streets, buildings shake, visibility disappears, and just like that, the walkers come. Hundreds of them, drawn toward the noise, drawn toward the living. Within seconds, everyone is running for their lives. Negan and Maggie barely escape into an abandoned basement. Hershel is separated. Renata and Lewis disappear into the smoke. And somewhere in the chaos, a familiar face emerges from the darkness. The Croat. Only, he's dying.
The explosion changes everything. Within seconds, smoke fills the streets, ash rains from the sky, and the deafening blast echoes across Manhattan. But in a world ruled by the dead, noise is the worst possible thing, because every walker in the area hears it. Hundreds of them begin moving towards the explosion. The city that looked empty just moments ago suddenly becomes a nightmare. Everyone runs, everyone fights, and everyone is trying to survive. Maggie pulls Hershel towards safety, while Negan fights off walkers with brutal efficiency. Meanwhile, Renata and Luis desperately search for another escape route. But then, someone else appears from the smoke, the Croat. Only, he doesn't look like the terrifying warlord we remember. He's badly injured, covered in blood, barely able to stand. For the first time, the monster looks vulnerable. Luis immediately recognizes him. His eyes fill with hatred. Without saying another word, he points his weapon directly at the Croat's head. This is the man who destroyed his family, the man responsible for years of suffering. Today, Luis finally has his chance for revenge. But before he can pull the trigger, the Croat says something shocking. The methane tanks are gone. Luis doesn't believe him. The Croat slowly lifts his shirt. A deep wound covers his stomach. He's dying. Even if Luis doesn't kill him, time will. But then the Croat reveals another secret. He knows where the last remaining methane tank is hidden. Suddenly, the man everyone wants dead becomes the only person who can save them. Instead of killing him, Luis forces him to come along, because sometimes keeping your enemy alive is more valuable than revenge. Meanwhile, the walkers keep getting closer. The group barely escapes into an abandoned basement. Heavy furniture blocks the doors. Silence returns, for now. Inside the basement, everyone finally catches their breath, but nobody trusts each other. Negan immediately attacks Luis. Luis points his gun back at Negan. Maggie jumps between them before another fight begins. One wrong move, and they'll kill each other before the walkers ever do. Renata finally explains why they kidnapped Maggie and Negan. Her sister-in-law, Yvette, is about to give birth, but she's 2 months early. The baby won't survive without an incubator, and the incubator needs electricity. Electricity needs methane. Without that final methane tank, both mother and child will die. Suddenly, this isn't about war anymore. It's about saving an innocent life. But then, the episode takes us 4 months into the past, and this flashback completely changes how we see Renata and Luis. Back then, their community was actually happy. People laughed, families celebrated together. Yvette and her husband Chucho were excited about becoming parents. For just a few moments, life almost felt normal. Then, the Croat arrived. He entered peacefully, almost smiling, congratulating the family, talking about building a better future. At first, nothing seems wrong. But fans already know, whenever someone talks calmly in The Walking Dead, something horrible usually follows. The Croat begins asking questions. Who among them has useful skills? Luis proudly explains that he's been training others in emergency medicine. The Croat nods. Doctors are valuable. Doctors are resources. Then he turns towards Chucho. Are you one too? Chucho confidently says yes. The Croat smiles. Then, without warning, he stabs Luis's elderly uncle directly in the stomach. Everyone freezes. The old man collapses. Blood pours everywhere. The Croat calmly watches. His twisted lesson has begun. He tells Chucho, if you're really a doctor, save him. Panic fills the room. But before Chucho can even react, the Croat casually slices his throat. Just like that. 2 innocent people, gone within seconds. And then, he whispers something longtime Walking Dead fans instantly recognize. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The exact game Negan once used before killing Glenn. It's no coincidence. The Croat copied everything from his former leader. Negan didn't just inspire him, he created him. That's why the Croat has always been one of Negan's greatest regrets. Back in the basement, Luis still can't control his anger. Every time he looks at the Croat, he remembers that day. He remembers his brother, his uncle, everything that was stolen from him. Revenge feels justified, but Renata stops him once again, and then she asks one simple question. When does the killing stop? The room falls silent, because nobody has an answer, especially Maggie. Those words hit her harder than anyone realizes. She spent years chasing revenge, years blaming Negan, years believing that killing him would finally bring peace. But has it? Has any of it actually healed her? The answer is painfully obvious. No. At the other end of the basement, something unexpected happens. Hershel quietly approaches Maggie. This is the conversation fans have been waiting for. He finally admits the truth. The Dama manipulated him. She convinced him to hate Maggie. She made him believe his mother deserved to die. But eventually, he realized everything had been a lie. He looks at Maggie. I'm tired of being angry. Those words break her. For the first time in a long time, mother and son embrace. No shouting, no blame, just relief. It's one of the most emotional moments in the episode, because after everything they've survived, they finally begin healing. But just when things start looking hopeful, Negan quietly walks away. No one notices. No one stops him. He's done. Done with fighting. Done with saving people. Done with hope itself. After losing Ginny, after carrying decades of guilt, Negan no longer believes people can be saved. He simply wants to disappear. And that's exactly what he tries to do. He walks into what looks like an ordinary abandoned bar. Except, it's not abandoned. Someone is inside, calmly cleaning glasses, playing music, almost as if the apocalypse never happened. His name is Dillard. And what happens next might be the strangest encounter Negan has ever had.
Negan eventually stumbles upon a hidden bar, where he meets a strange but cheerful survivor named Dillard. Unlike everyone else in Manhattan, Dillard hasn't given up on life. He has electricity, food, music, and even chained walkers that he treats like regular customers. For a brief moment, Negan experiences something he hasn't felt in years: peace. But Maggie soon finds him. She doesn't order him back. Instead, she quietly says something that changes everything. "I need you." Those 3 words break through Negan's walls. For years, he believed everyone would be better off without him. Hearing Maggie admit she still needs him gives him a reason to fight again. The group follows the dying Croat to the hidden methane tank inside the Croatian consulate. Along the way, the Croat admits he was arrogant and believed fear was the only way to lead. Negan realizes the man before him is the final reminder of his own violent past. When the Croat dies, Negan gently holds him in his arms before driving a knife into his head, making sure he never returns as a walker. It's a heartbreaking moment, not because the Croat deserves sympathy, but because Negan is finally burying the darkest chapter of his own life. With the final methane tank secured, the group races toward the hospital. But time is running out. The group reaches the hospital just in time. Luis successfully delivers the premature baby, and the methane-powered incubator saves the newborn's life. In a world filled with death, this tiny life becomes a powerful symbol of hope. Afterward, Maggie and Negan share their most honest conversation yet. Negan asks why she never finished killing him. Maggie admits that deep down she believed he was still capable of saving people, and today he proved her right. For the first time since Glenn's death, Maggie smiles. Negan notices. "I don't think I've ever seen you smile. It suits you." It's not forgiveness. It's not friendship. It's simply 2 broken people choosing to stop carrying the weight of endless hatred. Maggie decides to stay with Renata's community and help build a safer future, while Negan returns to Dillard's bar, hoping to finally find some peace. But just when it seems everything is over, the real danger returns. The Dama survives. Standing among the ruins of Manhattan, she looks at the destruction and calmly says, "Every empire starts with the broken. Our work is just beginning." That single line confirms the war isn't over. It's only entering a new chapter. Season 3 begins by closing old wounds instead of reopening them. The Croat's death ends Negan's darkest legacy. Maggie finally starts letting go of her anger. Hershel reunites with his mother, and a baby's birth reminds everyone that hope still exists, even in a city ruled by death. But with the Dama rebuilding her forces and new enemies already emerging, Maggie and Negan's fragile peace won't last forever. If this premiere is any indication, Dead City Season 3 isn't just about surviving the apocalypse anymore. It's about deciding what kind of world is worth rebuilding after it.